Thanks for tuning in to Bodenmiller Radio. I'm your host, Katie Bodenmiller, and today we will be discussing housing arrangements and family dynamics in today's society. Beginning a freshman year of college, my mother met my father, and they fell in love. When my mother was 19 and my father was 21, just 2 years after they had met, they were married. Another 2 years passed, and they had my sister Megan, then Grace, then me, and then my brother Thane. In August, they will have been happily married for 25 years. To me, this is the normal family. A mother and father fall in love with each other and stay together till death do them part. However, over the past 50 years or so, family normalcy has changed. In the article, Here's How the American Family Has Changed in the Past 50 Years, Teresa Bonner explains the differences between the 1960s and 2010s. According to Bonner, in 1960, 73% of children lived in a household with two parents who were both in their first marriage. That percentage has decreased significantly, as only 46% of children live in that type of household nowadays. Another way that family dynamics has changed is the median age of brides and grooms. According to a graph found on Bonner's online article, the median age at first marriage in 1960 for women was around 20, and for men was around 23. My parents were still very young compared to other marriages in the 1990s, since the averages were 24 for women and 26 for men. In 2017, that average was even higher, reaching 27 for women and 29 for men. Those averages are roughly 6 years later than the averages in 1967. The article goes on to explain the living arrangements of children from 1960 to present and how they differ. The two-parent households went from 85% in the 1960s to 70% in today's society. The households with mothers only grew from 10% to 25%. Father-only households were almost non-existent in 1967, but are about 5% nowadays. Finally, the households with no parents stayed at roughly 5%. The family dynamics affect the children in many different ways. Family Dynamics and Health, an article found on the Unite for Sight website, discussed the various health benefits and hindrances that a family could afflict upon itself. For example, having a close-knit and supportive family provides emotional support, economic well-being, and increases overall health. Marriage is connected with physical health, psychological well-being, and low morality. In fact, one study found that, quote, controlling on or taking into account every other risk factor for death that we know, including physical health status, rates of all-cause morality are twice as high among the unmarried as the married, end quote. Another study found in that article states that there are, quote, direct beneficial effects of various forms of social support on global mental health, psychologic distress, psychological strain, physical symptoms, and all causes of morality, end quote. However, when family life is characterized by stress and conflict, the health of family members tends to be negatively affected. A study found that, quote, persons in unhappy marriages exhibit worse physical and mental health than unmarried persons, end quote. So, sometimes it is better to be in a single-parent household rather than an unhappily married two-parent household. As family dynamics and housing arrangements continue to change, the effects are more noticeable. My siblings and I have been blessed in our family with two loving parents who each have two loving parents, support us in everything we do, and continue to relieve stress and conflict. My family type was normal in the 1960s, but it isn't normal anymore. However, that isn't necessarily a bad thing. There are positives and negatives to different types of housing arrangements, and the normal family dynamic will continue to change. Who knows? Maybe in 50 years, when we're zooming across the world in our jetpacks and flying cars, the quote-unquote normal family might just be 2 robot parents with a baby cyborg. Thanks for tuning in to the Bodenmiller Radio. See you next week.